James Garner was born James Scott Bumgarner on April 7, 1928, in Norman, Oklahoma, and his early life was marked by instability and loss. Growing up during the Great Depression, Garner experienced hardship at a young age when his mother died while he was only 5 years old. His father struggled to keep the family together, and James spent much of his childhood moving between relatives and working small jobs to help survive. Those years shaped him deeply, giving him a grounded outlook and a quiet resilience that later became central to his screen presence. Unlike many stars who arrived in Hollywood polished and privileged, Garner carried the emotional weight of real struggle. That authenticity followed him throughout his career, allowing audiences to sense something genuine beneath his calm demeanor. He never tried to appear larger than life. Instead, he brought honesty, humility, and emotional truth to everything he did, from military service to personal discipline. Before acting ever entered his life, James Garner served his country with distinction. At just 16, he left school and joined the Merchant Marine, later enlisting in the U.S. Army during the Korean War. His service placed him directly in combat, where he was wounded twice and awarded 2 Purple Hearts. These experiences left lasting physical pain, but also forged a lifelong sense of discipline and humility. Garner rarely spoke about his wartime heroics, believing that real bravery didn't need an audience. He carried that belief into Hollywood, where he resisted glamorized portrayals of violence and masculinity. Instead, he favored characters who relied on intelligence, restraint, and moral clarity. The war taught him the value of life and the cost of conflict, lessons that quietly informed his performances. His understated strength came not from bravado, but from lived experience and earned perspective. An accidental path into acting. James Garner never set out to become a movie star. After returning from military service, he moved to Los Angeles simply looking for work, taking jobs wherever he could find them. While helping a friend rehearse lines for an audition, Garner caught the attention of a talent agent who noticed his natural presence and ease in front of the camera. Without formal training, Garner learned by doing, taking small roles in television and film throughout the early 1950s. What set him apart wasn't theatrical technique, but authenticity. He spoke and moved like a real person, not a performer trying to impress. That quality resonated strongly with audiences. Hollywood, which often rewarded exaggerated personalities, found something refreshing in Garner's calm confidence. His rise was gradual, built on consistency rather than ambition, and that slow burn made his eventual success feel both earned and enduring. Maverick and the reinvention of the Western hero. Garner's career changed forever in 1957 when he was cast as Brett Maverick in the television series Maverick. At a time when Western heroes were traditionally stoic and aggressive, Garner's Maverick was witty, charming, and reluctant to fight unless absolutely necessary. He relied on humor and intelligence rather than brute force, turning genre expectations on their head. Audiences loved the character because he felt modern and relatable. Maverick wasn't fearless. He was clever, self-aware, and human. Garner infused the role with effortless timing and subtle warmth, quickly becoming a household name. The show's success launched him into stardom and proved that masculinity didn't have to be loud to be powerful. Maverick's popularity also reflected Garner's own personality, grounded, humorous, and resistant to unnecessary confrontation. It was the perfect role at exactly the right moment. A quiet advocate for fairness in Hollywood. Beyond acting, James Garner became known as a quiet but determined advocate for fairness in the entertainment industry. He challenged studio practices he believed were unjust, even when doing so risked his own career. Garner once sued a major studio over contract disputes, standing up not only for himself but for other actors facing similar treatment. His actions weren't driven by ego, but by principle. He believed creative work deserved respect and that performers should be treated as professionals, not commodities. This integrity earned him lasting respect behind the scenes. Garner never positioned himself as a crusader, yet his willingness to speak up changed conversations in Hollywood. He understood power, but never abused it. Instead, he used his influence sparingly and responsibly, reinforcing his reputation as someone who valued fairness, honesty, and accountability over personal gain. A love story that defied Hollywood odds. James Garner's personal life reflected the same steadiness audiences admired on screen. In 1956, he met Lois Josephine Fleshman Clark at a party, and the connection was immediate. After just 16 days, they married, beginning a partnership that would last nearly 6 decades. In an industry known for fleeting relationships, their marriage became a quiet anomaly. Garner often joked about their modest honeymoon and the realities of marriage, but beneath the humor was deep devotion. Lois provided stability and grounding, supporting Garner through the pressures of fame. He frequently credited her with keeping his life balanced. Their relationship wasn't perfect, but it was rooted in loyalty, respect, and mutual understanding. Together they built a private world away from Hollywood noise, proving that lasting love was possible even under constant public scrutiny. Family, responsibility, and personal values. When James Garner married Lois, he also became a stepfather to her young daughter Kim, who was recovering from polio. Garner embraced the role with patience and compassion, offering stability without seeking recognition. Later, the couple welcomed their daughter, Greta She Garner, deepening his commitment to family life. Despite demanding schedules, Garner prioritized his home life whenever possible. He spoke often of his daughters with pride, valuing presence over prestige. Family grounded him, reminding him of what truly mattered beyond fame. Those close to Garner described him as dependable, generous, and quietly protective. He never used his celebrity to dominate family dynamics. Instead, he showed up consistently, believing responsibility was something you lived, not announced. His values weren't performative. They were practiced daily, in private, without expectation of praise. Periods of separation and enduring commitment. Like many long marriages, James and Lois Garner experienced challenges, including 2 periods of separation. Rather than hiding these moments, Garner spoke about them with honesty and maturity. He acknowledged that both partners sometimes needed space to grow individually. What mattered most, he believed, was choosing to return. The couple reunited in 1981, recommitting to one another with renewed understanding. Their story wasn't defined by perfection, but by perseverance. Garner viewed marriage as ongoing work, requiring patience, humor, and humility. That realism strengthened their bond rather than weakening it. He often compared marriage to service, difficult at times, but deeply meaningful. Their ability to navigate distance without resentment reflected mutual respect. It was a partnership built on effort, not illusion, and that honesty made their relationship both resilient and deeply human. James Garner on Randolph Scott, respect without speculation. In later interviews, James Garner spoke respectfully about Randolph Scott, describing him as disciplined, private, and deeply professional. Garner admired Scott's quiet authority and commitment to his craft, noting that he commanded attention without theatrics. He emphasized Scott's integrity, punctuality, and respectful treatment of cast and crew. Garner rejected gossip and speculation, believing that Scott's privacy had often been misunderstood. To Garner, Scott represented a generation of actors who valued work over publicity and dignity over attention. He didn't frame Scott as mysterious, but as principled and reserved. Garner believed people often projected stories onto those who refused to explain themselves. His comments were not revelations, but reminders that silence does not invite judgment. Garner's respect came from observation, not assumption, and his words reflected admiration without intrusion into another man's private life. Legacy, loss, and a life well lived. James Garner passed away on July 19, 2014, just weeks before what would have been his 58th wedding anniversary. His death marked the end of a life defined by consistency, kindness, and integrity. Lois survived him for several years, carrying the weight of a partnership built on shared history and quiet devotion. Garner's legacy endures not just through his films and television work, but through the example he set as a human being. He proved that strength could be gentle, fame could be handled with humility, and success didn't require spectacle. Audiences continue to connect with his work because it feels honest. James Garner didn't chase